It's good afternoon now, so good afternoon everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome and introduce two guests from France. First of all, Patrice Lallemand, who is from the Montpellier Supagro University, and Jean-Philippe Roby, who is from the Bordeaux Sciences Agro University. The two universities have some linkages, have a relation. First time in New Zealand, so first time in Hawke's Bay. Unfortunately, only staying a bit more than 24 hours. So this afternoon we're going to try and get out and visit a winery and have a look at some vineyards, so they don't leave Hawke's Bay and have visited some of our industry. So I'm going to hand over to them. They're going to do a presentation about their wine regions, obviously very famous, particularly, I guess, the Bordeaux region is particularly famous. And also tell you about their institutes and perhaps some of the things that we've been talking about, how we might have a bit of a partnership or a closer relationship with you.
Thank you for the introduction. My name is Patrice Lallemand. You have my contact, you can contact me later. I'm going to introduce my institute. It's in Montpellier, in France, in the south of France. And this institution deals with research, with education. So it's a question of education, innovation, and tradition. The same letters on your institute, EIT, Education, Innovation, and Tradition. So first, I can just talk about the different wine we have in my region. So as you can see, Europe, France, and Montpellier is here. So it's between Marseille, quite famous city in the south of France, close to the French Riviera, and the Spanish border. So it's between French Riviera and Spanish border. So just that region here. So here you have the French Riviera, and here you have Spain, and Montpellier is between here. So historically, this region is a famous region for production of wine, and particularly table wine. So during the 19th, 20th century, beginning of 20th century, it was very famous to produce a lot of wines to export and for the national consumption too. So it was very famous everywhere in the country to drink some wine from the Languedoc. Now that changed a bit because the consumption is different. Now people drink wine during the weekend at the restaurant, but not every day. So the production has known a big crisis in the 60s, 70s, and the volume has decreased considerably, and now it's more a production of appellation wine, terroir wines. So we have both table wine, a lot of this table wine is exported in bulk wine, and in the same time we have the development of new production of appellation dedicated to wine tourism, because it's a very touristic place with a lot of sun, with the sea, with beach, so a lot of people come for summer. And the idea is now to develop more and more the wine tourism and to offer some high quality wine, terroir wine to the customer. So we have a lot of different wines because the climate allows to produce everything you want. We have the plain, we have the mountain, so according to the altitude we can plant some Sauvignon, for instance, or Pinot Noir or Chardonnay in the mountains, and in the plains we use red grapes like Carignan, Mourvèdre, Grenache, Syrah, and so we can produce approximately everything if we choose the right place. So there are some red wines, white wines, rosé wine, sparkling wine, sweet wines, fortified wines, so everything is possible. And you can see there are a large scale of appellation. So of course in purple, in red you have the red appellation, and in white you have the white appellation. So the list is quite long, so I don't want to go further in the details, but it's good value for money because in fact it's quite new appellation, so the price is quite affordable for everybody, between €4 to €10 one bottle, with a good quality. And of course for table one it's very cheap. You can find table one for €1 a bottle in retail price, so it's very, very, very cheap one. So this is for the first presentation of the wines. About history, this is my institute. A few years ago, this is now the center of Montpellier. So it has changed a bit, but this is a picture from the end of the 18th century. So at the beginning it was an estate, it was a legacy, and so we have built the school in that place, but it was in the countryside at this period, so now it's downtown. And you have to imagine a vineyard downtown. It's quite impressive for people living here, because we have a vineyard just in the center of the city with the facilities for students, so it's quite interesting campus. At this period in Europe, we have known a big crisis because of the phylloxera. Maybe you know about this insect. This insect coming from US has totally destroyed the vineyard in Europe at this period, and it was quite advantage for us in the school, because we are famous professors and they have found a solution to fight against phylloxera. So it was very good for the reputation of the school at this period, because thanks to this, we have rebuilt the vineyard in Europe. It was quite easy, in fact, it's grafting. They have invented the grafting between US varieties and Vitis vinifera. And thanks to these new methods at this period, we have rebuilt the vineyard. So we have a proof of this history. Again today with this rootstock. Maybe you have heard about this rootstock. It's Riparia Gloire de Montpellier. It's quite famous, and as you can see, Riparia Gloire de Montpellier is the glory of Montpellier, so it has been created in the school at this period. So we have famous names like Pierre Viala or Jules Planchon, who has done a trip for 3 months in US and come back with US variety to create this new rootstock at this period. But it was tradition, it was history. Of course now we have other research project, and I just would like to introduce this kind of research project. I have put a picture of the estate of the school. We have a 20 hectares estate. It's a commercial estate close to the sea, as you can see. It's 10 kilometers from the schools and very close to the sea. And what is really interesting, it's of course close to the beach, it's sandy soil. And as you know, phylloxera couldn't develop in sandy soil. And we have on this place a collection of Vitis vinifera without rootstock. It's a pure Vitis vinifera. And so it's quite interesting to have this kind of place in the school. Now, the research is made in a kind of cluster of institute. The name of the cluster is Agro. It's a cluster of research centers, not only dedicated to vine and wine, but dedicated to agriculture and agronomy. So it's maybe one of the biggest cluster in the world dedicated only to agronomy. Just to give you a few statistics, this is the name of the different institute in Agropolis, and the number of PhD students, the number of scientific working on this cluster. If we consider vine and wine researches, we work on different topics to cover all the sector. Not only the viticulture, not only the winemaking, but the economic science too, marketing, wine business, social science when we talk about development, wine tourism, and ecology, organic production, So we have PhD in all these different topics and research program in all these topics. This is one of the good tools we have to experiment. It's the unit of Pêche Rouge. It's 100 kilometers from Montpellier campus, and it's 120 hectares only dedicated to vine and wine research. So we have experimentation on the vineyard with a large collection of vines. We experiment irrigation, climate change, new variety for the viticulture, and for enology, microbiology, or new technology, new press, a lot of research in the field and in the cellar. So just to give you an idea about which kind of program we have. This is a program about grape juice. We have created a variety which is totally resistant to powder mildew and other disease. So it's a hybrid of Vitis vinifera, and it's not really interesting for wine production, but for juice it's quite good with a lot of polyphenol and a lot of sugar. So for now we use this new variety only for juice, and we expect in the future we can use equivalent variety for wine. What else? We have a germplasm collection, and we deal with different topics like pruning and water management. We have a robotic platform too for the vinification, so with different tanks, different volumes. So it's quite interesting to work about microbiology, for instance. We try to identify strain of yeast, strain of bacteria, work about co-inoculation. So that's the main topic we develop thanks to this platform. So that was for the experimental unit. On the campus in Montpellier, we have other facilities. We have, for instance, this device called PhenoArch. It's a greenhouse, and it's a totally automatic greenhouse. It's allowed to have 2-3 measures a day automatically. So, for instance, we can study the growth of the vine under hydric stress, and each pot moves twice every day to take some picture, and we can modelize the growing of the plant after. So it's really useful for the researchers. It's not only dedicated to vine, because sometimes you can use corn or sunflowers. We have different type of research. We talk about modelization too, so it's more integrative research on the field about water management, about canopy management, about fertilization. So we try to develop a new model taking in account the disease and to advise better the producers. This is a specific program running now, almost finished, about the dry condition. We try to, for instance, hybrid some varieties. For instance, we have created a few years ago the Marcelan. Maybe you have heard about this grape. It's an hybrid between Grenache, Garnacha from Spain, really resistant to drought, and the Syrah. Syrah is good for the aromas and for everything for wine production. So we have hybrid with Grenache to have a grape adapted to the Mediterranean condition and climate change. About enology, we have a special unit. The name is SPO, Science for Enology, and the main focus is on microbiology. We work with different companies like Lallemand company to identify new yeast, especially yeast producing low degree of alcohol, because it's a big problem in my region especially. because of the climate change. We have wine with a degree at 15, 16 degrees, so it's really high, too much for the consumer now. So we try to find yeast allowing to use a lot of sugar to produce low degree of alcohol. So we have this kind of program, for instance. Of course, we work a lot about aromas, so we're trying to identify yeast with interesting compounds in terms of aromas. We try to work about desalcoholization too, so we have a program about membranes to desalcoholize the wine. So that's one of the practical experimentation we have. Now a few words about the school. So you see it's a quite small school because in total we have 1,700 students, so it's not a lot, and only 200 on studying vine and wine sciences, so it's small size. We have a lot of international students. For now, most of them come from the French-speaking countries, especially Africa, Asia. But more and more now, we develop a program in English language, so we attract people from other countries, especially US, China now, more and more. A few words about the Institute of Wine. So the name is IHEV. It means Institute for Higher Education in Vine and Wine. This institute is only dedicated to training, of course in link with researchers, so we have a mission of extension. We try to do the link between research and companies, but the main focus is education and offer some trainings. So this is a French European system, but it's quite similar to international system. So we offer some bachelor degree. So we offer only the last year of the bachelor degree. So students come from university, so they spend 2 years at university, and after they come for 1 year in the institute for specialization. After we offer the master degree, so we have several programs, and of course the PhD degree too. So it's 1 year, means 3 years after the secondary school, 2 years here, and 3 years more for the PhD. This is the European system. We call that Bologna system. In a bachelor degree, we have 2 dedicated only to vine and wine. One about organic, sustainable viticulture, and the other one about wine business. It's in French language, so most of the students are French students. If we talk about master degree, we have few. So 2 programs in French. One to become enologist. It's an official diploma to become an enologist. You need it in France to become enologist. It's a kind of status if you want. And if you want to work in a lab or in an institution, a national institution, you need this accreditation. And only 5 schools in France give this training, so it's quite particular. We have a master in viticulture and enology in French language, and we have the same kind of training in English language, full in English language. So this one is more dedicated to attract some French students, and this one is dedicated to international students. And we have another one, maybe you have heard about this. It's an international program from OIV, but this program is managed by my institute. It's a program visiting 28 countries in 2 years to know more about the global world of wine. There is one module in New Zealand every 2 years, so maybe you have heard about it by the past. It's a 28th batch now, so it's a program running for a long time, but it's quite particular in fact. This is the OIV program. I have talked about it. So this is the other international program we offer. So my colleague Jean-Philippe is going to talk about this one. It's in Bordeaux. It's a master MBS. And for myself, I'm just going to introduce quickly the Vinifera program now. I'll come back to this one before. It's the MBS program. I just would like to talk a bit about Vinifera before. So Vinifera program, I'm the coordinator of this program. It's a program created in 2007, and it's thanks to a consortium of European university, because this program is under the label of Europe. It's Erasmus Plus label. It means the European Commission supports the program and gives some scholarships to international students to join the program. So this is the different partner of the program. So Montpellier and Bordeaux are the partner of the M1. So during the M1, all the students come in France for 1 year, and after they choose another university between this one in Germany, Italy, Spain or Portugal, and they go for 1 year for the M2 in the other European universities. We have some associate partners everywhere in the world, so it's more dedicated to the master thesis, so we have connection with this university. The closer from here is Wagga Wagga in Australia, but as you can see, we have partners everywhere in the world. It gives the opportunity to the students to travel for the thesis. Just a few words about the organization of the program. As I told you, the first year is in France, 9 months in Montpellier and 1 month in Bordeaux. And after, the students move to another country for at least 1 semester. It could be 2, but at least 1 semester. And for the thesis, they can stay in this university or go abroad in one of the associate universities. So that's the current program now. But next year is the birthday of the program, like every year. But next year, it's the 10th year of the program. And after 10 years, it's not possible to reapply for the label of Europe, because the idea is to have something sustainable without the support of Europe. So it means we are going to change a bit the structure of the program. So if you want to apply for this program, it's time, because next year is the last year we can offer some scholarship from Europe. But the good point after this European period is we are going to open the program to other partnership, and we probably offering some track in other countries, not only in Europe, but in Argentina. It's quite sure now. And we are looking for partners in Australia and New Zealand to open a special track in this part of the world. So that's the future of the program. That's the idea. And that's why we are here today to try to find new partnership. Just a few words about the fees and scholarship. So that's the situation now. So the fees for non-European students are 16,000 euros for the 2 years of the program. It's cheaper for European students. And we offer scholarships to this year 7 students. It's quite good scholarship because it covers everything. The amount of the scholarship is approximately 47,000 euros for the 2 years. That's quite interesting. And for this year, the call now is finished, and we have offered 7 scholarships to students from everywhere. To give you an idea, we have 32 students in that batch from 21 countries, so it comes from everywhere. And we have one French student in the batch, but she has a double nationality, US and French. Just about the program for the first year, as you can see, we have some modules, and we have 3 blocks, one in economics, one in viticulture, and one in enology, from September to July. And the part in Bordeaux here is about, it's kind of integrative module. We call that terroir and company auditing. It's really integrative, and it's a study case. Students go to visit a famous estate and study everything: the soil, the climate, the vineyard, the cellar, and the accountancy. but it's quite interesting to have this global view of a French estate. The program is professional oriented, but according to the specialization chosen during the second year, it's totally possible to have a research oriented track and to follow to PhD after. Approximately 30% of our students follow in PhD, but it's just a choice in the second year. You can go to a professional track, especially if you go to Madrid, for instance, or to Lisbon, but you can choose to go to Geisenheim in Germany and to go towards a really research-oriented track. So this is for my institute and my region. Just now I'm going to let Mr. Roby talk about the master program in Bordeaux and the research made in the Institute of Wine of Bordeaux. I'll come back to the MBS program. So this is the MBS program, is Vineyard and Winery Management, and he's going to talk about. Non, il y a les diapos de. Je te laisse. Nouvelle-Zélande. Ouais. D'abord, je te laisse présenter ça et après je vais
Okay, so this master it's a master of business and science, so it's more focused on winery management, tools for financial analysis, accounting, marketing, market studies, cost of production, and so on. Let's say 2/3 of the program is dedicated to management, and 1/3 is for viticulture and enology. So. Skills needed to manage a wine company. It's of course basic viticulture, vineyard management, winemaking, and winery management, agri-management, strategic and business planning, and global industry and economy branch organization at international level. So that means all these skills are needed for a wine company manager. To support the pedagogical intent, we have, let's say, wine industry branch organization, a third of business and management, a third for vineyard and wine. Program organization of this master is a 4-semester lecture in France, in Europe, so the master degree is obtained in 2 years. We have 30 credits per semester, and semester 1 is immersion, internship in winery, culture and society, academic standing upgrade, basic in wine economy, and fundamentals in viticulture. Of course, it's based on worldwide wine regions and industry, and taught in English. Semester 2 is a little bit more specific. You have seasonal vineyard practice in management, enology and winery technology, cost and profitability. During this semester 2 of Master 1, we do a technical audit, so we go with the students and we study the soils, canopy, wines analysis, sensory analysis, and we deliver to the owner or to the vineyard manager some advice and some improvement, in the vineyard. And we are paid for that. We have strong relationship between growth of Médoc, Saint-Émilion, and the school. So that allows us to propose our work with students, but as professional work, and companies pay the work that we do with the students. So it's a really professional task. At the end, the students should be able to do a complete audit, financial, technical in viticulture and enology at the end of this master. Semester 3 is enhanced master's international specificity, so it's much more based on world viticulture, specific vinification, computer-assisted production management in the wine industry, human resource management, and so on. And at the end, they do a global auditing of companies, not only a technical auditing. And we do it last year. We did it with the first batch in a winery in Virginia, which is named RDV Vineyards, which is a small vineyard, but increasing very quickly its image and price of wine. And we had access to the financial accounting data and so on. So we have worked on them and deliver some advices on well, management of the winery. The fourth semester is internship abroad, compulsory. And you have an oral defense. So this is fourth semester. I just show you some slides. We have not a lot of time, maybe I shorten it, concerning Bordeaux Sciences Agro, which is the sister school of Montpellier Supagro in Bordeaux.
What is the name of your
Dans le New Zealand, attends, pardon, tu viens de New Zealand? New Zealand. And New Zealand, you find it, and it's, tu l'as les mots en entier, oui, ça c'est là. Yeah. J'ai tout mis là-dessus. So, just a few slides to present you the school. The Science Institute of Bordeaux, we belong to a huge institute where we are 160 researchers involved in wine and vine research and some elements of Bordeaux terroir. So our school is Bordeaux Sciences Agro. We are a small school of viticulture and enology, but we have 50 scientists, 400 professionals teaching with us, 12 research units, and 600 students. So we have accommodation to the house, we have a vineyard. Here you can see some slides, some picture of the campus, well, traditional campus. We have a property very close to the school, 5 minutes driving in the center of Bordeaux, 20 hectares vineyard, and with well, brand new cellar. It has been built in 2000, let's say it is 2000. So it's an agronomic school, so we have not only vine and wine, it's only 10% of the activity of the school, and we work also in information system management, local development, agroecology, and so on. So we have 2 master degrees, which is with Montpellier and other partners, the 2 master we have presented before. International cooperation, a long list like for Master Vinifera. The research partners, in France it's the French National Institute of Agriculture, Bordeaux University. Bordeaux University has 75,000 students. The French National Center for Research, and INSERM, which is an Institute of Health and Medical Research. And we have strong link with INSERM concerning all polyphenols activities on earth and cardio activity. So here are the different research units of the school. You see in different soil science, sustainable development, and viticulture and enology. I belong to EGFV, which is ecophysiology, genomic, and functional genomic agriculture. For Bordeaux environment, you see here picture of the town. It's tourism, very cultural, tourism famous town in Europe, and it is inscribed in the World Patrimonium by UNESCO. We are in the region Aquitaine, in southwest of France, with quite nice beaches and close to the ocean. You have nice surf spots all around the coast. And of course, we are in the middle of one of the famous vineyards of Bordeaux. We have 120,000 hectares of vineyard, all in appellation, in 63 different appellations. So the size of Bordeaux vineyard is almost 3 or 4 times the size of global New Zealand vineyard. So it's quite a big industry, and we are in the most the biggest, thank you, the biggest forest of Europe with 1 million hectares, and which is a cultivated forest. So the two key words in Bordeaux for agronomic school is vine and wine, and wood and forest.
But it's not oak, it's pine. It's not oak forest.
No, it's pine forest. And we have oak industry. We have a lot of cooperage in the region, but we work with oak from center of France because the climate is a little bit cooler and more adapted to what we need for cooperage. Yes. So I have just put my name here, and if you want to join me, the email address. This is ISVD, so I work in this institute. It's a quite huge institute dedicated to science. It's 10,000 square meters of labs in 3-level labs, teaching rooms, and of course hosting visitors. So we are a big consortium between different universities and polytechnic institutes. The organization is, we have a main director which is known here, Denis Dubourdieu, for all the theory research on Sauvignon, for example. And concerning research, I was in charge until January, during 6 years of what we call applied science or R&D innovation department, with 4 different units where I hire young PhD students, postdoc students, and some engineers in order to work for industrials. So we have in a part all the different units here with 160 researchers, and in another end we have 4 units which are private units. So the industrials, the coopers, suppliers of the wine chain, I will say, ask us to work for applied science. So they look for PhD students with ideas to develop some new materials, new filters, new bacteria, for example, or whatever. So I used to employ 18 persons with private funds for industrial research, but with compulsory public publication. So it's a way to have strong link with industrial. So it's very easy for us to find research internship for master 2, PhD, or whatever with industrial and fund them. So this is the campus, and ISVD just this block, and we have all the plots around. Well, it's organized like you with some hall, technical halls, labs, amphitheater, and so on. So 3 key words for our institute. Well, there is something strange here, mainly. Well, you can read. We have 3 keywords, which are markets. We work with Bordeaux Management School, which is a huge school, 5,000 students inscribed, and concerning markets, they are driving the research in our institute. Environment, we are in Bordeaux, they're very deeply concerned by chemicals reduction. There is a lot of pressure of the consumers, and as we are in an Atlantic weather, quite warm climate with oceanic conditions, that means that we have a lot of pressure, fungus pressure, downy mildew mainly, botrytis and so on. So we used to like you, chemical weeding, but also 10, 12 sprays per year of different molecules for fungicide. So we try to decrease it very quickly because consumers now want more healthy condition of viticulture. And the third keyword is typicity and quality. A lot of you are going to see a lot of products of Bordeaux are copied, and sometimes the bottles are of very high price. Bottle of Bordeaux are utilized again with other wines. So we are imagining a platform in order to authentify the wines with isotopic analysis of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and so on, and combining almost 100 different analyses with the database, we should be able even to determine the vintage and the origin with minerals, and well, that is our main research program. So in enology, it's very classic. It's in French, but interaction for quality of the berry, and in microbiology is a systemic approach. What we call systemic approach is that we try to establish research work between the soil to the berry up to the wine bottle. Before ISVV, my colleague in Bordeaux Agro, microbiologists, used to work on the berry, on the bunch. My colleague of National Research Institute on the soil, microbiology of the soil, and my colleague of the University Faculty of Enology, only concerned by the bottle and the bag. So now we have transversal project with 15, 16 researchers working on microbiology, and it's considered as a global environment, and we study the transfer of the yeast, bacteria, and so on from the soil to the bottle. It's another way of research. Well, and we have viticulture environment. My unit here is concerning interaction between rootstock and the varieties, and we work on we try to modelize the growth activity of the vine with carbon, nitrogen, and so on. We have the pathologists working. The main pathology are wood disease, SCAP in particular, Parui and downy mildew, botrytis. Concerning the link with health, the research, we work deeply with polyphenols and stimulation of natural defense of the vine. And of course, we work now on neuroprotection with polyphenols for human health. It's a huge activity, and we have a transfer unit, a private one, who works with industry of medical. So this is the new platform. We call it VRAI because it's to verify the authenticity, and vrai in French means true. So it's our objective. It will take maybe 4 or 5 years more, but we put a lot of money, means, and human activity in this. Well, that's all. And of course, we do a lot of congress, colloques, and so on 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Concerning Bordeaux, 10 slides. So this is old Bordeaux chateau, what we call chateau. It's castle, but a lot of vineyards have not any more castles. This one have 600 years old, and a lot of them collapsed. But the vineyard remains for 2,000 years. So we study the terroir and all the components, means type of vines and rootstock selection, soil and bedrock, climate, topography, and the human activities. So concerning the pedologic factor, we study very deeply the soil. So we over pits, and you can see in the same plots that has been taken in the same plot is here you have the bedrock of limestone in Saint-Emilion, just only 40 centimeters of soil for root system. So I mean you have very small berries with a very good water status, because the limestone delivers some water like a sponge, but we create a water stress quite early in the region, so it's quite good. 10 meters or 20 meters beyond, you have 1 meter deeper soil, so with more fertility, and at the bottom of the plot you can have 2 meters depth soil. That means that when you separate the different vines growing there and you do different wine quality, this is considered as common quality, medium quality, top quality wines. And one of the particularities of Bordeaux that the bottle of wine can, the price can be from €1, 1.5 euros basic, up to 1,000 or more. So a huge difference of price, huge difference of quality, and we separate in industrial Bordeaux wine vineyards in co-op or whatever for basic wines, and top quality wines. So that's the same for climate. Let's say this is the vineyard of Bordeaux, and a map of the sum of active temperature in base 10 degrees. So you can see that Médoc is very warm, and the south of Bordeaux in southern area is very warm compared to the rest of the region. In concerning rainfall, we have between 750 millimeters up to 1 meter on the ocean coast, is 1 meter, and you have quite dry region in the north and east of the department. We use different cultivars, different variety. The main one in red are Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, let's say, and in white Sauvignon and Semillon. Semillon is still the first variety cultivated in Bordeaux, but nobody knows that. Even the Bordeaux vine grower thinks that it is Sauvignon, but the majority is Semillon. So we work a lot with rootstock, in particular to study tolerance to drought. Here are the varieties. So in fact, we think that Cabernet Sauvignon is grown in Bordeaux. Its origin is the Médoc. The Médoc is a part of the Garonne River, delimited by the quite narrow bank of 4 kilometers width. It's a deposit of gravels, and as it is a very warm climate with gravels, meaning early drought, you have early veraison, early maturity. So we can grow Cabernet Sauvignon and ripe it in Médoc. Not every year, but it is feasible. In some of the part of the Gironde, the department of Bordeaux, you cannot grow Cabernet Sauvignon. You will have methoxyperazine and grain acidity and so on. So it's quite tricky, quite challenging to grow Cabernet Sauvignon. And for the industry, most of the vine growers prefer to grow Merlot. Merlot, which is not at the origin in the region of Bordeaux, has increased a lot these 30 past years because it was so easy to grow it, that's all. Cultivation methods. The training system 10 years ago, you could find 2,500 stocks, vine plant per hectare, up to 10,000 vine plant. For Cabernet Sauvignon in Medoc, it's mainly high density vineyard in order to have a huge canopy and to have more efficiency to grow Cabernet Sauvignon. But I will say to do Sauvignon Blanc for common table wine, we are close to 3,000 plants per hectare. So the cost of production is strictly linked with the number of vines. In this vineyard, you use 600 hours of manual work. In this one, 60. So it's a rate from 1 to 10 in terms of cost of production. Okay, so this is the Bordeaux region, and you can see the ocean here, Bassin d'Arcachon for oysters, and here you have the estuary of two rivers. One is Dordogne coming from the central mountain of France. One is the Garonne coming from the Pyrenees. The Pyrenees mountain is a big chain of mountains in the south of Bordeaux, and you have 63 different appellations in this different well, or yes, some what I want to tell you in conclusion is that we have studied the data C13 and also the intensity of let's say water stress, and you have a strong correlation. You see here the intense water stress, and you can see that the best vintage, considered as best vintage by critics and so on, are all 2000, 90, 01, 95, all intense stress, and 7 considered as awful, and they are awful, 85, 77, 92, and so on. You cannot even drink them. So let's say for climate and terroir main factor, we are in oceanic condition. It's not easy to ripe Cabernet Sauvignon every year. We need to do some exceptional product, non-reproducible. We need to accept risk and to present such vintage for the consumer. So that means concerning warming or climatic change, the Medoc producers are not scared. They can say thank you to the warming. The Cabernet Sauvignon getting better and better.
We've
Yes.
got time for questions.
Yes.
If anyone has a class at 1 o'clock, they'll probably be better to leave now. But if you want to stay and ask questions, fire away.
Concerning studies, master, or research, or terroir, Montpellier, Bordeaux. If you have questions, you can ask them. If you don't have, you can send us some email. And of course, your professors and dean here have known us. And well, if you want to come for internship or to exchange master degree program or whatever, we are open. We have 20 different nationalities in our master in English. So welcome if you want to come involved. Any questions? Yes.
From the Languedoc, you say, because it's a new appellation, it has a little bit more flexibility in what you can, wines you can make compared to the rest of France. Is that right? And you can go with different varieties.
Maybe I can tell you a few words about the system of appellation in France and in Europe. So the regulation is a European regulation. Everybody has to follow the regulation as a European legal. So the European Commission defined 2 categories of wines. One is IGP, and IGP means Indication Géographique de Provenance. It means to indicate the area of production. This is IGP, and the other category is VTP. It's vin de pays, it's table wine, in fact. So when you are in table 1, you just have one condition, is to use some grape in the European catalog. So the catalog is quite big, so it's quite easy. You take a grape, you put, and you produce some wine, and you put on the label European wine, and that's all. It's not allowed to, you have to use fresh grape. It's not allowed to buy some grape in China and to produce some European wine. It's impossible. And it's not allowed to froze some juice and to use it later. So you just have to use fresh grape. But it's the only condition. And according to the place where you are, there is a condition about the yield. So in my region, because the lake of water, it's not allowed to go more than 90 hectoliters for 1 hectare, because the lake of water only. And if you're in the north, you can go more. So that's for the table 1. So it's quite flexible. For the appellation, it's very strict specification. And first, you need to show that the product at that place is different with a special typicity from the other product. And if everybody agrees with that, the producers agree with that, they write a specification. And they send it to the National Institute of Wine, the name is INAO, and the INAO is coming, do some analysis of the soil, of the climate, taste the wines, and they just define if it's relevant or not to create this new appellation because it's really typical. If it's okay, but you need maybe sometimes 10 years to have the authorization of the administration. If it's okay, the case go to Brussels for the European Commission, and the European Commission see if it's okay for European Commission. Needs one year more, and at this moment you obtain the new appellation, and you can use the name, and the name is protected in all the European Union, and sometimes more because we have specific agreement with other countries. For instance, it's not possible to use champagne in other countries because we have specific agreement. So it's a question of protection. And after this long way, you can create this new appellation according to the specification you have written yourself. It's coming from the producers. So they define the grape, the yield, the pruning, the know-how. Do you have to use oak barrel? Everything is specified. And of course, the most important is the place where you can produce this appellation. So it's not flexible, in fact. And it's very strict. And in Languedoc, for 30 years now, they try to create new appellation. Maybe the most famous is Pic Saint-Loup. Pic Saint-Loup is a kind of specific hill just in the north of Montpellier, and it's a very famous place because people like to work during the weekend in that place. And so, thanks to this habits of the inhabitants of Montpellier to work in that place, the wine has become more and more famous. They have created an appellation, and now it's very famous. Minimum price is €10 one bottle, so it's a lot for this place. And after we had created another appellation, it's Picpoul de Pinet. It's a typical grape. Picpoul is just produced in that place in France. So they have recognized the grape first, and thanks to this specific grape, they have created a new appellation. The name is Picpoul de Pinet. So it's a white wine, really acid. It's not so usual to have acid wine in that kind of region because of the sun, and they match it with oyster. So the appellation comes after the Pic Saint-Loup. Now they have just created a new appellation. It's Terrasse du Larzac. It's in the mountain. It's a really difficult area, and they grow perfect Syrah with a typical grape like Carignan, Mourvèdre, Cinsault, and they have it's a brand new appellation for 1 year now. They have created this new appellation. So you see, it's step by step, and they try to create new appellation, but it's a long way, and after you need the marketing to promote this wine. So it's not flexible, it's not easy, but after you can have a good value for the product, because the regular price in the region for table wine is less than €1 one bottle. And thanks to this appellation, with a good marketing, you can sell €10 one bottle. So.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but also there's a class waiting to come in here as well. So I'd just like to thank you both very, very much for your presentation. It's really fantastic that we had this opportunity for your visit. We are definitely very interested in looking to see how we can be part of the partnership with your universities. But there's opportunities for our students, for our graduates, and also for your students to come here, to come to New Zealand, Hawke's Bay, and be linked perhaps with EIT as well. So there's going to be lots of conversations and communication about that, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure that students and staff are as well. So we feel quite honoured to have had, you know, a visit by people from your, you know, really preeminent universities in France. We're on the other side of the world. Sometimes, you know, we feel like we're you know, not really well known. We're very proud of the wine that we produce, but yeah, we hold French winemaking in very high regard, and I think, you know, that is something that, while being proud of our own wine and winemaking, French wine for us is right up there, and so it's been an honour. Thank you for your visit.
Thank you for your
presentation.
And you have our contact. You hesitate to ask some questions or contact by email.
Yeah. We have your presentations, don't we?